That one. I think we're good.
His iPad. There's Rita's
Yeah, there's
iPad.
Rita.
There's Rita's iPad right there.
All right. Is that Haley Wills too? Is that Brendan's?
I think that's Brennan, yeah.
Brendan, I have a quick thank you for you. Thank you for printing the budget. Legible form. He didn't hear me. Maybe that's when he walked away. All right. We good? Good to start? I call the Shrewsbury Select Board to order for March 31st. Yes, okay. So to review our agenda, we first have public comment. And then our general business for the evening is to approve minutes from March 17th. Approve an appointment of Gail Fleischiker to the Board of Registrars. Approve the appointment of Jay Wellahan for Administrative Assessor. Sign Town of Amherst and Town of Shrewsbury agreement for the provision of ambulance service. Vote to sign the Life Path grant for contract for lockbox program in Shrewsbury. Review and sign the May 9th local election warrant. And at 6 p.m. we will meet with the FinCom to review the May 9th annual town meeting warrant, and then any unanticipated business and the town administrator report. How does that sound? Was there anything that popped up?
No, but I think we can look at the, like, well, you can move me up if we have dead air.
Okay,
We do the other
great.
stuff.
All right. That sounds like a plan. Okay. So first off, public comment. Anyone here in the room that has public comment, please use your raised hand feature. Anyone on screen who has public comment, please use your raised hand feature. Okay, not seeing any public comment. Let's move on to approve the minutes for March 17th, 2026. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Oh, we can't hear you, Rita.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Was
I will
that a
say,
second? Okay,
yes, that's a second.
great. Was there any edits or clarifications at all? I didn't see any.
I don't think so.
No,
Okay.
I was good.
They were good. Thank you, Brennan.
Yes, thanks.
And yes. All those in favor?
Carol?
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. Now to approve the appointment of Gail Fleischiker to the Board of Registrars. This is an annual, annual appointment, or when there's a seat that's up on the Board of Registrars. And thank you for volunteering, Gail, to do that. We appreciate that. Do I hear a motion to appoint Gail Fleischiker to the Board of Registrars?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Any questions first? No.
No,
All those in favor?
Carol, I.
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. And we also have the appointment of Jay Wellahan to Administrative Assessor.
Yes.
Yeah,
His offer letter is in the signing packet.
okay.
So he's slated to start in April, because there's a cooling off period after you retire.
About 30 days or something like that.
Yeah. So he retired in on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th. And so his start date will be in about 30 days from then. I'll check in with him. But he is,
Thanks for me.
but he's been helping us. He did the recap. He's been working as a consultant, and this will solidify him as an actual employee.
Okay.
That's great. Great that he can get started. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's very good.
How many hours will he be working, Haley?
I think other.
16.
16 was what he has signed on to do.
Great. Okay, I'll make the motion that he be appointed as our administrative assessor.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Farrell, I.
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, I am going to sign it right now before it gets away from us.
Okay. I'm not in town. I'm not back in town until next week, so I don't know if it can just go out without my signature.
This only had mine on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
What's today's date? Oh, 31st. And there's 2 to sign.
I'll send him one and then keep one. He already knows. I mean, I shared that with him. We met in my office to kind of go over the details. So
I see he had signed it.
yeah.
Yay, we are on a path with the assessor. Great.
Hey, Leslie,
Hello.
we just approved Jay's appointment.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I did.
Did you describe any of the responsibilities for him versus me, or is that just something we'll work out?
So I wrote an offer letter just based on the job description. And so I think that'll probably just be a you and him thing.
Okay.
How it'll work out day to day.
I noticed it was 16 hours and previously the assessor had been 20.
He
Is
was not interested in that many hours.
okay. All right.
We'll
He's
have to make
very
some adjustments.
fast. I just spent
Yes.
2 hours doing something that he probably will just approve and say, that was right.
Right.
He does work very, very fast. I'm very
Okay,
impressed by
so I'm
him.
thrilled about that, and I was joining because I want to make sure Donna answers the questions that I have when it comes to the warrant articles. So I'll probably be down, or I'll be sitting up here spending another 2 hours doing something Jake can do in a minute.
I'm
I
sure he
doubt
appreciates
that.
the help.
I doubt that, Leslie.
Oh, don't doubt it, Rita. Okay, all right. So you may see me here, but I may be on my phone. I'm
Okay,
gonna
thank
mute
you.
myself till I hear you're getting near my stuff. Thanks.
Okay,
Bye.
sounds good.
Right.
So the next is to sign the Town of Amherst and Town of Shrewsbury agreement for the provision of ambulance, and I think this is our yearly thing.
Yes.
Here where we assign an agreement for ambulance service to town. Doesn't have an amount, but I think that's because, oh yeah, it does. So it does have the amount of 38,784 for fiscal year 27,
Mhm.
then 39,947 for fiscal 28, and 41,146 for fiscal 29.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that boils down to just like 6% increase from the first one to the last one,
So yeah,
which seems totally reasonable to me,
it does.
given the price of fuel and so forth. I'd say sign it before we can.
And so this does require 3 signatures. We'll sign it tonight, Rita, and then next week.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I can just email Sean too and just say we're waiting for one signature.
That's fine. Okay, so do I hear a motion to sign the agreement for the provision of ambulance service?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Farrell, I.
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, I am not on there now since we're sitting there. Here you go. Eric. All right. The next one is to sign a Life Path grant contract for the Lockbox, vote to sign, Life grant, contract for Lockbox program for, Shutesbury. So this was a grant that the COA had applied for with, the chief of police and fire supporting. And so this is a retroactive vote because it had to be signed last Tuesday.
Mhm.
And so I signed it. It only needed the one signature, so we will vote now to sign it. It had to be executed fairly quickly. not DocuSign, but electronically. So it was done electronically.
And what is it? Cause just to sound ignorant, cause I am.
So, when you go to buy a house, there's a lockbox on the door.
Yeah.
This is a lockbox that the emergency, either police or fire can use to get in to someone's home if they need to. And anyone else that might need to, caregiver or someone, I
Yeah.
think too, can
It's
get
great.
in the home.
Because then they won't break down your door to get in.
Right.
Yeah.
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 Seems.
Yeah. Or window or
I
like
said it was a
open
stupid
a screen,
question.
open a window, which all have been done.
Yeah, I'm sure they have.
In various ways. So forget the amount of the grant.
Uh,
It's 2,800.
the grants were up to 3,000,
Up to
so it's under that.
So any questions? Related? No. So it's a service for our seniors, which is.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
And it pays for the lockbox and the installation, I believe. So I guess in that case, all those in favor for, voting to sign the Life Path Grant for the lockbox program,
Farrell, I.
Docker, I.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. Next is to review and sign May 9th local election warrant. That's just, okay. All right. We do this annually. Just
Anything you want to say? about this?
anything out here that we need to know?
So I guess there are a couple of things on it. First
Yeah.
of all, the poll hours, I have set it 8:30 to 3:30. So they'll be open for half an hour before town meeting starts. Obviously, during town meeting, people can vote.
And
And based on our average span
may or may
time
not
of
be that.
10 minutes per a article,
Mhm.
with 32 articles, that means that we would be ending sometime between 2 and 3 o'clock. Polls would remain open for another half hour after that. And then we would tally votes immediately following polls closing at 3:30. The other two things that are a note on this are the office of constable, 2 years because of the completed term. And then there's the situation with the town clerk. The language that is there for the ballot question about town clerk comes out of Mass General Law. It's stilted and inarticulate, and I hate it. But it's what the law says the language has to be. So there it is. We are in this weird situation of having town clerk on the ballot as an office. Mass General Law, Chapter 41, Section 1B specifies what happens when there is an office that is on the ballot that is also being changed on the same ballot to appointed, which is that if someone gets elected town clerk, they serve in that position until the select board makes an appointment, and then their term ends. And if there is no appointment, that person continues to serve the regular 3-year term.
So either way, we could have a town clerk
Well,
of various degrees.
yes, and I can also say that,
Okay.
The certification of the nomination papers is done. The candidates have been notified. Nobody has provided papers for town clerk or constable, or
Mhm.
one of the planning board seats, or one of the school committee seats.
Hmm.
So there'll be a lot of write-ins.
Oh, boy.
Or none.
That's- Say that, so can you tell me,
Oh.
can you say that again, Matteo, around the town clerk? So nobody's taken out papers.
Well, nobody's returned papers for those offices. So we have 3 open seats. Well, we have 3 seats on the planning board, one of which is an open seat.
Yeah,
Only return papers in our running for planning board. There
Yeah.
are 2 seats on the school committee and only one person returned papers for that. So there's an open seat. And then nobody returned papers for constable or clerk.
okay. Well, clerk, I could understand. Constable, yeah, okay. All right.
Here's a question, which you may or may not know the answer, and it may not be an appropriate point to ask it, so we can certainly defer. If no one writes in for the constable and we don't have one, does the select board appoint that one? We've always been lucky to have a constable serve for many, many years.
Right.
Each time it went to a different person that was many, many years that
Right.
they were on, so
You'd have to check.
that's 'cause we wanted to-
Melissa,
Yes,
You could appoint a deputy constable.
Okay, thank you. That's right. That answers my question. Thank you, Brennan.
Well,
So,
Could
okay.
could it be a town employee?
I think it could be anyone.
Yeah, I think you just have to check against if you have a bylaw prohibiting non-residents from serving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know that it'd be a yeah, it wouldn't be a non-resident, but if you're an employee, maybe there's the right.
Yeah.
That's not.
And all they have to do literally is nail the warrants up and because whatever the word
To
is,
post the
and
warrants.
stay.
post
Yeah.
warrants.
And then they often are during an election, they're here. voting, like,
Right.
yeah.
And they get paid for that? They do. don't they?
Yeah, I
Yes.
think they do.
Yeah, there is a
Get
lot.
this- There's a stipend.
It's not a lot, but
No,
I'll know that's about.
They might oversee counting too, but I'm not oversee. They might be present counting, but I'm not exactly sure on that.
they get paid $203 for the year.
Sorry, they're also an optional office. I'm required to have them.
Oh.
Oh, it is?
maybe not.
Oh, it is an optional office?
Yeah, I mean, I would want to check with Donna on that, but the way it's written in MGL is the town constables may serve.
But we do have to post the warrant, right? Is that true?
Yeah, so I don't know what the process would be for,
But if you can appoint a deputy, maybe you just do that.
Until the next year.
May I speak up from 10 years?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely.
And that is that state elections, that would be September and November, Secretary of the Commonwealth called on me once because I did not have a constable sitting at the election. So at that point, I made sure that Marilyn Tibbetts was the constable at that point. Made sure she sat there for the election at the minimum rate of pay, which was what the election workers were getting. For the local elections, I don't know that the Secretary of the Commonwealth can tell you what to do. At those elections, typically it was at town meeting and there were police officers available. So I never did hire someone to sit and oversee the election. But there could at any point, theoretically, from the Secretary of the Commonwealth, say that a ruckus or a problem could occur. Are people at least 150 feet from the entrance to the building, that sort of thing? And they, at that time, required me to have a constable on duty. And at that point, it was two police officers, Paul Vlash and Jim Stoliva, who were our constables and would have required a lot more pay. So I chose to ask Marilyn if she would be willing to do it because she was willing to do it for the same rate as the other election workers. So there is a cost. It's not just tacking up the notices at the appointed places.
And Leslie, that when you did pay the minimum hourly rate for poll workers to the constable,
Yes.
that came out of the board of registrars budget line?
I took it right out of the elections budget line.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
there are wardens for the election too, who serve in the function of making sure that the voting area is sort of orderly.
So we'll want to see if we have to have a constable or deputy, just, sounds like we can at least have a deputy if no one, we can appoint a deputy.
I think you better check with the Secretary of the Commonwealth about eliminating it from the state elections if you want to be safe, but for local, for sure, you could get by.
Okay, that answers that. Any other information we need to know?
So far we have 13 vote by mail applications. But I've had a number of people in response to the last Friday 5 that went out, reach out and ask about it. So I expect more will come in, and I'm going to be doing an announcement to the whole town soon
We're
about,
still a little bit away, so,
Yeah.
well, not that, yeah, still a little bit.
Coming right up.
they have until May 4th to apply to vote by mail.
Okay. All right. Do I hear a motion to sign the warrant for annual town elections?
So moved.
Second,
Right? All those in favor?
Farrell, I.
Stalker, aye.
Makepeace O'Neill, aye. And this does have the constable signature for it. Maybe clerk can, and or assistant town clerk slash elections. I should sign it. I don't know. We'll want to check and see who.
Yeah. And so we'll check with Donna.
Yeah, those questions are probably good to ask Donna. Lastly, appreciate that institutional knowledge. Okay. Well, we are certainly earlier than 6.
Yes.
So why don't we do the town administrator report?
It's good because I prepared a nice long thing.
Oh, good.
Hopefully fill up some time. I wanted to start just by giving a really comprehensive update about the school oil tank, kind of from the beginning. So please ask questions. We have 40 minutes. So we did respond quickly to the localized release, that's what our experts call it, of number 2 fuel oil at the elementary school. So basically there was a failed gasket on the fuel supply pump inside the vault, right? So as they're trying to pump the water out of the vault, that's where the spill happened, but it was quickly contained. We did notify DEP right away. We have 2 licensed site professionals, one from Ty and Bond and one that Maya is using. So basically our insurance company has this like third-party layer that's also overseeing all of the and our remediation companies were Western Mass Environmental and Royal Steam. So they did the actual cleanup. The experts, they've confirmed that the school environment is safe and operations have been as normal. There hasn't been any disruption at the school. But what was I gonna say? So the initial response actions included a vacuum extraction of oil water mixture. They excavate and remove petroleum contaminated soils and deploy absorbent booms. Those are like, some people call them like oil socks. Looks like a giant sock that just sops up oil. They cleaned up the catch basins and the affected brook for any residual oil. So that was like the first phase of the cleanup project. And so it's important to know that last week on the 27th, we did a tightness test for the underground storage tank and we did pass, so that's good. So that confirms the integrity of that unit.
Oh, so they tested with air pressure.
Well, I did the tight test.
Okay, so there's some pressure involved.
Yeah, underground storage tank test. So, what else? So they let us know that the oil impacts are not likely to represent a current threat to the drinking water. They have to be cautious in the language that they use, but we're fairly confident that there's no risk. And even though it's deemed low, we did work with both our rep from Maya and Ty and Bond. So we're going to do some additional proactive testing for abutter properties. And those letters are going out within the next day or 2. So we'll be able to engage with folks and let them know that we'll do this test. And even though we think we don't need it, we're going to do this anyway as a good faith measure. But as we look to the long term, so we're looking at like a temporary fix. So Lenny, our fire chief, implemented an immediate temporary measure with like a rubber membrane over the tank to kind of prevent any more water from getting in. So thank you, Lenny, for that. And then we are going to be looking at long-term preventative maintenance and, mitigating water infiltration and possibly moving to a different tank system. I know that Frank on the buildings committee is looking at like above ground rather than in ground. And then, we continue to do all the environmental reporting to the state, but we don't have their test results yet. They haven't sent us any reports on it. That's where we're at with that. The barrels are still at the school site. They there seems to be some delay in picking them up, so I reached out to our LSPs just to ask them, where are we at with that? Yeah, they're supposed to be removed like the week after, but we'll see what the delay is there, and, you know, we continue to keep pretty close conversation with them. I'm actually gonna be meeting with Gregory, who's our, who works at the behest of our insurance company, tomorrow, to kind of go over some questions and see, you know, what we need to do going forward. And that's kind of a complete picture look at what happened. So we started with all this basically like March 13th, and then here we are, little over 2 weeks later, with the initial containment, and then doing additional testing and looking at long-term fixes. So that's pretty good.
Do you have any sense of what this has cost us to date? And then,
No, that's a question for Greg for tomorrow. You know, and I don't know to what extent, you know, the additional testing is gonna cost. So I've got a list of things to go over with him, get some more
Have
information.
they determined how many gallons of?
No, because I haven't got any of the reports back.
Yep.
But hopefully that'll be soon. I can check in with DEP too.
in terms of ongoing expenses, the biggest one would be if we had to do the tank, the other above ground tank, right? I mean, everything.
Yeah, so, you know, we can repair it. And I think that'll be fine for now, but I feel the state is probably gonna want to see us work towards a more permanent solution so that this doesn't happen
Right.
again. And, you know, we're, at the same time, we're looking at doing the parking lot over. But maybe it's possible to bundle in that upgrade while we're doing that. You know, certainly, as I'll mention later, now that we got the climate leader status, maybe there's more grant opportunities for something at this table. Yeah, any more questions?
Not on that. I was very thorough. Thank you.
Thanks.
No, yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
So the next thing is I did go back and I looked at the Stormwater Erosion Committee. It has a longer name, but I'm not saying it all.
Right.
As we talked about, we were gonna move it down to 5 seats. So what I'm proposing for your approval is 1 Concom member, 1 Lake Wyola Advisory Committee member, that's 2 fingers, 1 Climate Action Committee member, highway super or whoever he wants to delegate. Yep. And then 1 member with civil engineering, or similar experience, who I would certainly hope we would hope Jennifer. That's the more slimmed down composition of the committee. Hopefully, that really just leaves us with trying to fill, I think, 2 seats.
So you have one for which 2 are open?
So Concom and LWAC membership would be the open seats. We have Greg from ECAC and then Jennifer Wallace for our
And
member.
we know who the highway person is, was Dave.
No, but I'll check in with him. I think that one's a little easier. Yeah. That at least should better our odds, I hope.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we can see if that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
willing to try it and see if we get a full committee. I
Okay,
mean, if we don't, we'll have to think
yeah,
about it differently.
differently.
Uh-huh.
Which hopefully we do, because we just put in a grant application that deals with stormwater. We do have the distinction of being the only community in Franklin County being this proactive about stormwater, so if that's something,
Trend setting.
I know, it's really great.
Even though we can't get anybody to be on the committee.
We're trying.
All right.
But yeah. So I don't know if you want to make a vote.
Yeah, do I hear a motion to alter the stormwater
There's mitigation and
mitigation and implementation committee down to the 5 members that Haley listed to us?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Carol, I.
Docker, I.
AP Sonia, I.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. So, as promised, after our last meeting, I did go ahead and do the Friday 5 brand.
Yes, thank you, Haley. I meant to mention to you, I think it's excellent.
Yeah, it's fun.
It
Oh,
seems
I
like,
think-
yeah, it's a lot of work. I'm not sure if you're getting feedback from the community, but I think,
I've
you know,
never gotten so much good feedback.
really? Yeah, no, it's a
Oh,
lot
good.
of, it's a lot of information, and I do recall when I first started on the board, suggesting this, and
Yeah,
was
you did.
told it was not such a good idea because it created more work. But I think it's really wonderful. So thank you for doing it.
Thanks. It's a fun way to end the week,
Uh-huh.
good vibes. So we just in the interest of time management, I'll recap what I talked about with the last post. So just so if folks are watching and didn't read, May 29th
In this case.
April 29th is the deadline to register to vote before the annual town meeting, so you have to get it in by then. And May 4th, I say April 29th is the deadline to register to vote. May 4th is the deadline to submit vote by mail applications. Don't get confused by that. So those are coming up pretty quick. It's already April tomorrow. No joke. They're in there. So let me see what else. I thought it was really interesting to point out that for the 602 households that have enrolled in the Community Choice Aggregation Program, they've saved a collective $7,200.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, no, that was good.
Amazing. Yeah.
So that information's all up on Colonial Power Group's website, so you can check it out. Maybe that'll sway some folks into joining. And as I mentioned earlier, we did get the climate leader designation. So I think that's a big thank you to Michael DiChiara, because he did a lot of the legwork.
How many of us could be in that? What's the maximum number?
There's not a cap, but we are one of 28 and only a handful in Franklin County.
No, I mean of the 690.
Households. How
That
many?
would be every,
Oh,
I know.
oh, that I don't know.
that would be the 800 and
That's it.
There's like
Well, subscribe to as a Reddit. It's good.
significant majority of the household.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's my point, I guess.
it's like the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Free wire.
Yeah.
It's a popular thing.
And then usually like for something like that, you're gonna get that big rush of people, or not always a big rush, but people who are right on board. And then some people will be on the fence and they'll see information like this and then that might steer them.
I think it was opt out though. It wasn't opt in, it was opt out.
Yeah.
Right. So
But
so-
also, if you had, like, I had done some green energy thing, I had opted in, I don't know, a few years ago. And so I had to go through a different process. Yeah, which, took a little bit of,
Yeah, I had that same thing.
Did
you were
you?
greening up, so to
greening
speak.
up. Yeah,
Ah.
so I already had a greening up thing. So, and it took me 2 or 3 weeks to like say, wait a second, did I forget to do this? And so I finally did it. But some people might have forgotten to do that. So anyway. it's
I
just-
didn't do the greening up and mine just went very easily.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't realize there was a more difficult process. for
It,
anyone.
it was only if you had chosen this other path earlier on.
Right.
You had to, yeah. So just an FYI for anybody that did that, pay attention.
Oh, Gail has her hand up.
People there are very few, but there's a handful of folks who are on the other utility.
Oh,
And
Eversource.
that rate at this point is lower than what we can offer on the CCA. If that changes, if their Eversource rate changes, they're always free to sign up on the CCA. So you can do that at any time.
Yeah. They're pretty volatile, the rates.
Yeah.
Times.
I always miss this time of year.
So yes, we got climate leaders. So some of the grants you can apply to now that we have this designation are up to $1 million. So these are pretty significant pots of money. And so I'll be meeting with Frank McGinn and Michael, I think next week to go over, how do we want to tackle this? Because we'll want to be kind of smart. And if we can bundle things together to make it a bigger application, we definitely want to do that. So we're keenly aware of that. And then in terms of other grants, so that stormwater one I alluded to earlier, so we recently applied last Friday for funds was about $80,000 to do education, advocacy, and outreach on stormwater erosion around the lake in particular. So the grant talks about working with the Lake Association with FERCog to do like dirt road walks, do water table events like at the school and at the library, and just trying to build a network of people who are informed on this topic so that we can kind of keep building on that. The grant that we applied to was the MVP. And that is a grant where they really like if you can show kind of that you're building, like if we can apply every year and we have the different project and we're phasing in more things, it looks really good to the grantor. So hopefully that gives us an edge for further applications. But this one will be really exciting. And that also was Jennifer Walls helped tremendously. And so did Tamsin Flanders at the FERCog and putting all the information together. So the second grant that we applied to was under the dam and seawall program. So this is the same program for which we have the 41,000 to do, well, what is now the work of the engineering and permitting for the dam repairs. So this is kind of looking ahead. We're seeking funding to address the unsafe condition of the dam. How do we stabilize it? How do we help it be more comprehensive in the design and planning for like the final repair? So that will help us because, as I've said before, even once we do these emergency repairs, we're still going to have a second step after that. And dam and seawall grant is another one where they kind of like to see you continuing to build. And certainly having an unsafe designation makes us pretty competitive for the grant. All things considered, and that one was much more substantial. I want to say we did like a $200,000 grant. So, we're talking big bucks here. And what I was going to say something else about that. So I was just in touch with the contractor today just to confirm that they want to go ahead with the permitting. So once I get that from him, I'll be reaching out to Beth Wilson for an emergency order so that then they can get started on the work. We're trying again to do it within a 2-week time frame. So something that I do want to say, because I don't want it to shock people later, is that even when they do this repair work, they're still going to need to assess the conditions at the dam. So once that happens, there's still not a guarantee of how much water we can put back in. Right. So, if folks are hoping for a specific day and time where it's going to be the full lake threshold, that may or may not be reality, and we really won't know until the construction work is done. Certainly something to keep in mind for the future.
One thing about this whole dam thing that's got me a little bit is like, it seems to me we spent a lot of money, not you or here, not.
Oh, yeah, the town.
Over time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
and having it rebuilt fairly completely, fairly recently, and now here we are fixing it. It's like, well,
Yeah.
something's wrong somewhere, I would think.
I think it was, well,
Age.
it's age, but also like there was reason to, well, I'll put it this way. One of the engineers said, I've never seen someone fix a dam that way about the previous project.
There you go.
So,
I rest my case.
yeah.
And it is one of the elements that you can't control: wind, fire, water.
No.
It is a natural element that is uncontrollable.
And the trash rack is helpful, but it's gonna get clogged, and that doesn't go away.
Right.
If you got rid of the trash rack, you still have similar problems. So there's not a whole lot of great options for that. But keeping in mind of safety, I'll reiterate, Lenny's sent out a really nice email last week about just talking about how to stay safe around the dam. If it says off limits, don't go on it. Just
Right.
leave it alone. Don't wear sandals, wear like boots that are sturdy so that you don't like slip into the mud and all that kind of stuff. So it just kind of be thinking safely and smartly. It is kind of cool because you could see more than you normally could if the water level was higher, but you don't want to like fall in the lake.
But and also that dirt is not solid because it's always
No.
water.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the freezing and the drying and
Oh.
all of those things that make dirt sturdy.
Yes, and as I just learned about mud season in Shutesbury, I went into my calf walking along the side of the road, just sunk right into the mud. So,
Okay.
Wow.
So yes, so I would definitely say, wear good shoes, wear pants that you want to throw away if they get covered.
Right.
That was good. And looking ahead, so we've been talking a lot about high rates. So we do have National Grid customer advocates coming to the Shutesbury Town Hall on Monday, the April 13th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. So essentially what this program does is they'll sit down with you. You obviously want to bring a bill, probably your most recent bill, and they'll look and see, is there any like irregularities? Maybe you're being overcharged. Are there payment plan options for you? And certainly if you get SNAP, Mass Health, SSI, or WIC, bring your benefit cards because you get automatically enrolled into savings programs. And you don't necessarily need to live in Shutesbury. So if your friend is on the town line, they can still.
Yeah, it's regional, right?
Yeah. And take advantage of that. And then the last thing I just wanted to say,
Could you nudge the COA for that? There may be some members of their,
oh, I sent them the flyer.
oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking there may be some members of their demographic.
Oh, for sure.
That may.
So, yeah, I gave the flyers to COA, the school, and the library to kind of promote and see. And then the last thing I just wanted to talk about, you're talking about Friday 5. So, I did do the next door posting. Some people did comment. It says in our bio, we don't respond. But the first post we did had 820 views, and the second post had, as of today, 486.
Ah.
So that's a lot of engagement. You don't
Mhm.
necessarily know if it's unique people. I'm assuming it's just page views, so you don't know how many people are seeing it, but that's still pretty significant. And like Mateo said, I got more feedback in the last 2 weeks from that than I've ever gotten. And some of them from folks who were like, oh, can you check on my mail-in voting? Or can you please now add me to town announce emails? Because I wasn't getting them, but this is some good information.
Yeah. If anything happens from that's one of the best things,
Worth it.
Haley, because the town announced, like, we wanted to get more people, and that, getting people to sign up for that is a really great outcome.
Yeah.
So,
It's really fun. And I would say for me, the ultimate goal kind of with something like that is that you build a reputation for the program that is such that if people hear a rumor, they're going to think to themselves, well, let me just wait until Friday. Maybe before I get online or send an email or make a phone call, let me just wait and see
mhm.
what the town has for an update. And I think
Yeah.
once you do that, you've
Yeah, once you have that routine, people's in the routine. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's
That's a
great.
smart idea.
So I did my best. I got us 20 minutes.
Pretty good.
So can I just ask, because Melissa and Eric, I told Haley that we have tickets tonight, and I need to leave at 6:30. So unfortunately, I won't be able to stay beyond that. But so we're going through just the monetary articles with the Finance Committee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Tonight on the warrant, and then any other warrant articles? Are
We
we
do our
going?
usual voting that they're on the warrant, right?
Mhm.
Just our usual rundown.
So are we doing that tonight, or are we doing that at our next meeting?
You certainly can. There are not many that aren't financial. Most of them are.
If you want to wait, are you asking to wait on us?
Well,
voting
I
on
mean,
their
we could do
articles?
them now, or we could, is there any non-financial ones that we do now? I don't know. That's what I'm asking, I guess.
One moment.
So
Yeah,
the
we could do that.
budgets, let's see, it starts on Article 22. Do you not count the assessors ones? Finance.
Hold on. 22, that's the rolling over. 22 is raised rate of property value.
I'm staying here for the assessors ones. You may have seen it,
Oh,
ones that you got.
that's true.
I have read questions for Don.
My guess is that Finance Committee might have something to say about that one, maybe. Would you say
It-
that, Leslie?
But we have George and April on the board.
Okay.
But still,
Um,
as I say, unless somebody knows the answers to the questions that I put there for Donna, those were assessor questions that I'm hoping she'll answer. But I'm like Rita, if tonight's not the right night. I
Yeah,
don't
if we don't when do we have to vote on them before town meeting? Was it tonight was our deadline?
Well, we were hoping to do it tonight just to have like a buffer window. So if you like 24 on are ones that the finance committee didn't touch. So finance committee recommends is 1 through 23. Starting with data centers, that's nothing that they recommended. And then there's only handful until you get to the citizens petition, excuse me.
I mean, typically, we've had 2 meetings where we've done the warrant, so this is unusual just to do it all in one meeting, but, you know, we can do it all in one meeting. I'm just not gonna be here for part of it,
Yeah.
but it's up to you guys. I mean, I'm fine. I trust you, Eric and Melissa. And I don't see anything here, you know, I've been through it. I don't see anything that I have questions about. So
So how many, it's 24th, I mean, through,
We only have the one citizen petition. We didn't get more than
33. Yep, it's just the ones.
I'd say we should try to do those now and knock them off if we can.
Yeah, if we can knock off the non-financial ones, because we can do them. I don't see why not. You want to just do it
sure,
while you're here?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And we have 15 minutes.
Can you
so
just-
start-
Can you put them up?
Brennan. The one person with the computer.
And
And I just want to note that for Article 24 on the data centers, the language is going to stay the same. But there'll be different support, there might be different supporting documents pending the outcome of ECAC's meeting on April
Yeah.
13th.
So we have in the past had to have the language in the warrant.
So we have
yeah,
a question for Donna, and I believe the answer is that you can have them on a separate handout because it's going to be 10 pages
Okay.
of information.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, well, in the ones we've had in the past, so maybe this is a little different. Maybe the information we had in prior town mystery was a little different. So, as long as we tell people it's a.
And so part of the reason I'd like, personally would just like to get some of them done is because I'd like to be more like real switch out,
Okay, I got it.
like, explaining what the warrants are.
I went blank and I'm like, oh.
so are you saying that the warrant article is gonna be 10 pages?
No, the information for the data center article is 10 pages.
Oh, the information. Oh,
Yeah,
that
in and of
that's
itself.
separate. I was thinking that the.
They should run it through AI and like cut it down to 2 or 3 pages.
Well, you know, we're not doing the final vote on the
Warrant.
warrant anyway, until Donna's
Yeah.
reviewed it and we get it back.
Right. This is just
Right?
to include some things on the
We're
warrant.
Yeah.
we're just reviewing
Right.
the warrant now.
Yeah, and
That-
voting to add them to the warrant for review for Donna, right?
Right.
That's the first step that we do.
And then
Donna
we'll
will be here tonight, just a heads up as well.
Okay.
she's coming? Because
Yes.
usually she gets this warrant and then. Okay, that's unusual. All right. So she's gonna review this on the spot.
Now, we would send it to her and have her look at it, not on
Yeah,
the spot.
that's-
We always do that, Rita. We would
Yeah.
always have her do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think she's just gonna answer some of the questions we
questions.
have in red and underlined tonight.
Okay.
She
Right.
did get it ahead of time.
All right, so the non-financials you said started at 24 with
With the data
the
center.
data centers. That's a planning board, so we don't need to worry about that one unless we we don't vote on that one to add to it.
No.
No.
That just, and so the next one is the community preservation one that we don't vote either, right?
Right. We just,
Those
well, we
get added
vote
through
to
their
include
committee,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Those are included. And then we have the one that we should vote on is the Article 31, which is the Quabbin watershed resolution.
Right.
So do I hear a motion for the select board to add Article 31 Quabbin watershed resolution to the annual town meeting warrant for May 9th?
So moved.
Second,
Okay. Then the next one is amend the agreement establishing a regional school district. So do I hear a motion to add Article 32, amend the agreement establishing a regional school district to the town meeting warrant for April 9th? Sorry, May 9th.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor?
Carol, I.
Stockbridge.
Make peace, O'Neill, aye.
We didn't vote on that other one before this, did we?
Oh, I didn't call the vote. I'm sorry. I'll say, for Article 31, all those in favor?
Carol, I.
Stockbridge.
Make peace, O'Neill, aye. Thank you. Eric. And then the bylaw, that was sponsored by the select board.
Remember which,
33 personnel bylaw.
that was sponsored by, well, I guess sponsored by Personnel Board.
Okay, it does say, select board here on it.
Okay. Oh, did I just not turn it over? Yeah.
Well, it could be select board and it can be personnel board. We could add our, do you feel comfortable with that, Rita?
I haven't reviewed this, so
Oh,
I have a little bit of trouble saying that it's sponsored by us because I haven't.
okay, that's
reviewed.
fine. We can have the personnel board. It's the personnel bylaw and personnel board usually does it.
I can explain what they
I-
are because I helped them draft that.
Yeah, I understand, but I would rather, I feel like this is a little rushed, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Okay,
So, I don't feel like I want to endorse it without
okay.
understanding it. You know, again, I think in the past, you know, we, the select board reviewed the warrant before it was sent to Donna. And we went through it. Then it was sent to Donna. So it was kind of, there was like a little bit of a different process this year. So we had more.
Do
we
you,
had
do
more
you
time.
want us to go through, here's maybe something that will be a little bit of both worlds. We go through tonight this with FinCom. We, then for us, why don't we schedule a meeting for next week to go through it ourselves and then have Donna, does that give enough buffer?
Yeah.
So we also were, and maybe something got lost in translation because we had emailed this out earlier. But so our thought was to do the review tonight, you know, sign off if you need
Mhm.
to. And I might not have explained that part because remember how much involved I was with that last year, and then so we need to,
Came in halfway through.
yeah, we need to approve and sign on April 14th. Because then we have to get it to the constable, to
Right.
Donna, and then if we, so we can do next week.
I'm sorry, a special
Review and
meeting,
then
just kind of
that.
like spin and do that as a thing. Right, just a one topic meeting, just to get that, you know,
Okay.
because there could be changes tonight, you know.
So we could do that. I mean, I can't do Tuesday and I could do other days that week.
Let's see. You know, like
That's next week.
my only,
Yeah. So we,
my only thing is Thursday. Is out for me. Other than that, I'm pretty flexible, even early enough in the daytime. But you wanted us to vote on it and sign it by
it
the,
has to be done on the 14th because we have to post it by the 23rd at the latest.
Yeah, I'm open next week or whatever.
Wednesday. How's Wednesday?
Wednesday's fine for me.
Wednesday, let me
What
see.
is
And I can,
Wednesday?
8th,
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be fine that day too.
and then we do that, and then it gives Donna up until, you know, the morning of the 14th to look at it if she needs
Right.
to.
And she's already looked at it once, right?
I'm just thinking with her
Here.
questions here that might change language and stuff.
Do we want to do 5 o'clock or do we want to do earlier?
That can be earlier. The only time I can do only 5:30 is on Thursdays. Everything else is earlier on.
Okay. So what time do we want?
Can we go
What to do it for?
forward?
So that's Wednesday, what the heck is that?
Wednesday, 4.
4 at 4. How's that?
Yeah.
Sounds like a TV news thing or something. 4 at 4.
Perfect. It's on there.
Yeah.
And put that right on there. There we go.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other articles that,
Excuse me. No, that's it.
The other one is the citizen petition, but we don't vote on supporting those. Those are already on the warrant based on number of signatures.
right?
Yeah. So I think that was it, right? That was all of them. We only have a couple.
When's that next meeting? Next meeting was?
The 8th for next week for the
Mhm.
warrant
Oh,
and the
8th, okay.
14th for our usual meetings,
Got it.
our usual. Answer upstairs.
Um,
Yeah, I'm thinking that with all the questions that are in red, there could be some significant changes from normal. Awesome. Yeah, you came right in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Jumped in right at, I think we had finalized it already, or we did that one of your first meetings.
Yeah. So probably just went a little over.
Yeah, yeah. And that's okay. Are we close to 6? Oh, we
Yes.
got 5 minutes.
Yes.
4 minutes.
We did
We did.
it.
I think you can, oh wait, no, we'll need that up for the thing on one.
Likely to the budget unless AJ's, but will share his screen if he comes in.
Clarification, this isn't the meeting when you want to talk about orders of the, like the order of the, ready?
No, I guess
No.
not.
Later.
No.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
So when should I come back for that?
The 8th April,
Yeah.
but it's at 4, so we should probably change that because you'll be teaching.
Yeah. Well, is that doable for you all?
I think so.
My students leave at 3:30, but I'm in Warwick, so it takes me a bit to get.
Like 5 is good.
That would be great.
We can do that.
Is that okay for everyone else?
Mm-hmm. Nick, that's Wednesday,
Wednesday, the 8th.
Wednesday the 8th.
I didn't hear what you just said. The,
Nettie, can't get here for 4. So, we're gonna change it to 5 on that Wednesday.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you all for being flexible.
No problem.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, right.
You can still take some of the info home with you if you want the warrant.
do.
Yeah.
Have a few minutes, may I ask about just being a newbie? The 45-day bylaw saying that things need to be in place submitted in a warrant 45 days before the
Oh.
town meeting. And I'm wondering if that's something. In the past, when we've talked about the potential of having the fall a regular special town meeting, if that was a way that we could make sure that people have a couple of days they can shoot for, so if they don't make that deadline. There is the possibility that they don't have to wait an entire year.
Oh, or you're not talking about like for spring, right? You're
I'm
talking,
talking about, well, I'm talking about if someone misses the 45-day deadline to post on the spring annual town meeting warrant.
okay, like a
But it could
committee.
potentially still be there
Yes.
for the fall.
Yes,
Is that something that,
that's actually the plan for like the personnel board.
okay,
They have things that they weren't able to get to for spring, so they were like, we'll just do fall.
so that's gonna be in the fall.
And we've done that too. When we've had a fall special town meeting, we've added things that weren't related to whatever triggered it.
Yeah.
So, and you know, there's really something that, you know, is there
So that
anything we
might
need to?
Yeah, just that if someone doesn't meet the deadline, they automatically go to.
I don't know about automatically,
But it's,
I want to like remind us,
Yeah.
but there's no reason that like we couldn't just start a file of like, if someone knows, I definitely missed it, but I have it ready to go.
so if,
Send it early and we can just make a Google Doc.
Okay. I mentioned it because in the past when we talked about it, having town meeting, when I spoke with, my mentor moderator, who's from Long Meadow, who's fabulous, she's amazing. She said that when they made that switch, it really wasn't something that town meeting voted on. It was something that like the select board made the decision.
Okay.
And then eventually, when it like started working. out
Became a
on regular
practice.
basis,
Okay.
It became policy. They didn't start by making it policy, but when they saw that it was really effective.
That makes sense. That's a good way to go, I think.
Yeah.
just waiting for I did see Donna pop up on the,
Did you?
yeah.
Oh, she's in.
Even.
Brennan.
So there is a way we can see the faces of people that are on Haley, and that at the same time.
See what I
Yeah,
got here.
Yeah.
You got that. But then you're not gonna.
Something.
Thumbnail.
There you go. We can see.
Multi-speaker.
I just like to see the more people. So we, are they watching that? Is there a clock in that room?
Somebody knock on the door.
I think so.
They're still ready for your guys.
Yes. We might need more chairs though.
Yeah, possibly.
They're ready. They think they're ready.
I can slide it around a little. No. Yeah. I think I still. Paper cuts. Yeah.
Don't you want it? That must be your last.
Can I steal one copy that I can just? So, sure.
Okay,
How are you?
thank you for joining us, everyone.
Yeah, you can sit up here.
Rita is on,
You don't have to.
that is on screen. She's zooming in and she has a hard stop, so she will,
So I'll be leaving.
yeah, she'll duck off when she needs to. So thank you for coming and getting all this information together for us. So how would you like to work the review?
So, I guess, so I guess there's a couple of things we can do. One is we could do just kind of a high level kind of budget summary. And then if you had any questions about the budget or any of the warrant articles, we can discuss those as well. But, so I guess I'll just, I have this little cheat sheet. I'm sorry that we don't have it to share with those folks that are online, but I'll just kind of talk through it. So we've got a proposed budget for FY 27 of $8,338,475. That represents 7.45% increase over FY 26. In terms of dollars, that's an increase of $578,188. So this is kind of the second year in a row that I think we've come in with a budget that is a pretty significant increase over the prior year. We've really struggled to try to find strategies to kind of mitigate the impact of that increase on taxpayers. We'll talk about that in a minute. That there's in terms of kind of what this proposed budget is going to mean for residents, we're estimating, and this, I think we should probably talk about this as kind of the low end of a rate, like a range in terms of impact on taxpayers. But right now we're estimating a tax rate of $17.40 per $1,000 of assessed valuation. There's a typo in that box that should read estimated FY 27 average single family tax bill, and then instead of FY 25 average, it should say FY 26 average. Sorry about that. So we're estimating the average single family tax bill to be on the low end of $7,267. For FY 26, it was $6,770. So we're basically talking about a $500 increase. And the reason I've said this a couple of times now, that this is like represents the low end of what we're probably going to communicate as a range when it comes down to annual town meeting, is there's kind of a complicated mathematical reason why that number is probably underestimating the impact by maybe as much as $50. I don't want to kind of get into it too much now, but it basically has to do with the share of our total tax levy that corresponds to personal property versus residential property, and that there's kind of an ongoing depreciation with the assessed personal property that happens every year. And so as those telephone poles depreciate in value from one year to the next, a larger portion of our tax base is being covered by residential property versus personal property. So I think, so just, I just want to make sure that the information in that box there is understood as probably, for now, being on the kind of low side, that we're probably going to have to boost those estimates by as much as $50, $60.
Yeah, 60 is what it was last year.
Yeah. And we're going to clean that up before a town meeting so that we can make a kind of responsible, more accurate estimate of what the impact on taxpayers is going to be. So there's a bunch of lines that are seeing significant operating increases. Believe it or not, this, I think, could be a lot worse than it is this year. It feels really hard, and really challenging this year, but there actually are a couple of items that ended up playing out much better than I might have guessed at the beginning of the year. Maybe I'll mention those really quickly. One is our health insurance increase is 8.8% over FY 26, which is a big increase, but at points earlier in this year, we've been in meetings with you guys. We were at one point anticipating a 20% increase to that line. So that ended up not being quite as significant as we once thought it would be. The other, I think, significant piece here is that our assessment for the regional schools is only increasing by 0.7%, about $13,000. You guys know that we are kind of the outlier among the 4 towns. The other towns are seeing much more significant increases. And I think it's just a function of the modified statutory method that we advocated for years. And this was a year in which I think benefited our town. So we are not seeing, I mean, you recall last year, we had quite a significant increase in our regional budget, and it was good to see that this year that increase was less than 1%. And then I guess we have a new police chief, so that salary for that position, I think, was significantly lower than previous. I think that was about a $10,000 reduction. So there were a few things that I think actually did help us, I think, avoid what was at one point feeling like a potentially catastrophic budget. That said, there are significant increases. We have a pretty significant increase for the elementary school, 6.3%, $164,000 increase. The thing to keep in mind about that number is that a very large portion of that increase is the function of an out-of-district placement that was in our budget last year, but is an even more significant cost this year because it has transitioned to a private school tuition. So I think so quite a large portion of that increase is just a function of a single out-of-district placement.
Do we get any of that back with circuit breaker
Yes,
stuff?
we do. What can we say about
So they
specifics?
are using 130 out of cash reserves.
Yeah.
To meet that because the towns have to upfront it and circuit breaker comes a year later.
Mhm.
So even though we're using more cash reserves than we did last year, some of it is demand to be met with the circuit breaker next year.
And that's the expected number, right? About 30 to 130.
So what else can I say? We have, I think in terms of department budgets, other department budgets, there is a fairly significant increase for the highway department. It's about 10.2%. And I think that I would describe that as us kind of catching up to something that we've observed for several fiscal years in a row now, which is that several lines for the it's just gotten a lot more expensive to run the highway department. The machinery, maintenance costs, materials, those budget lines have been getting overspent kind of consistently the last few years. So we recognize that and tried to make some adjustments this year to get the budget to be more in line with what we think will be the actual costs of the department. Along the same lines, there's a increase in the snow removal line of about $10,000, which is about 12%. What else can I talk about?
Cost of materials, AJ.
Yeah,
That's the cost of materials
correct. Yeah.
increase.
Yep. We have a significant increase in our debt service portion of our budget. This was anticipated because of obviously the new library borrowing costs. So there's a $78,000 principal payment that we budgeted for, $43,000 interest payment on that loan that we budgeted for. We have a PFAS loan that we've had that has a $19,000 cost. So all in all, our debt service represents about $127,000 increase, or 91%. We talked about health insurance. Last year, you'll recall that we actually zeroed out our OPEB, our contribution to the OPEB trust fund. We did that because of the challenges we were concerned about. In last year's budget, plan was always for us to return to the practice of contributing to that fund out of our operating budget. So we've done that this year at a cost of $25,000. So I guess what I'll mention, I'm going to skip around. What I'll mention next is that we have identified about $200,000 worth of expenses in our budget that we're planning on funding with free cash. Again, as a strategy to kind of mitigate the impact on taxpayers. And in the past, the way we've approached this is we've used sort of two different rationales for applying cash reserves to fund portions of our operating budget. One of those is if we feel like there's a cost in our budget that is temporary in nature and not something that we're going to expect to see on an ongoing basis year after year. And then the second justification we've used is if we have a budget line that is increasing by a dramatic amount. Like for health insurance last year, we observed a 40% increase in our health insurance costs. And we felt like that was a significant burden to place on taxpayers in 1 year. And so we used some cash reserves to essentially offset and kind of phase in the impact of that increase over a couple of fiscal years as opposed to one. So here's what we're planning on doing, or what we've done in this proposed budget. We've applied $130,000 cash reserves for the elementary school line. Again, that corresponds to that out of district placement. And we've applied $25,000 to offset, is that the health insurance? Yeah. The health insurance increase, $25,000 to offset the OPEB contribution that we're getting back to making this year. $5,000 for some of the new kind of miscellaneous library operating expenses, and $15,000 to offset a significant increase in school transportation costs, elementary school transportation costs that we are realizing this year. So in all, we've applied $200,000 worth of cash reserves to help support the budget. There's nine different capital items at the top of page 2 on this document. These all have warrant articles that, corresponding warrant articles that you've already seen in the materials I sent you. You can see them listed here, $64,000 and change for a tractor for the highway department, $10,630 for a sprayer for the highway department, $15,800 for an engineering study for the SES parking lot repairs that are anticipated for FY28. $15,000 for some mechanical repairs / replacement for the elementary school cafetorium, I like that word. $800,000 for a new fire truck, which we are recommending borrowing for. $5,700 for clickers, $15,725. Those are clickers for town meeting. $15,725 for data digitization of paper records here at the town hall. And then $83,845 of stabilization funds for the dam repair project. So I think if all warrant articles pass, our total cash reserves would be around $1,060,000. That does not include the addition of free cash that we expect to be generated at the end of FY 26 when, unspent lines in the budget will to free cash. So, all right, that's a lot of details. I don't know if you had any questions about that or
Rita, I
anything
know
else in the budget.
you have to go. Do you have one? Toss your questions in first.
Yeah, I guess the only question I have, on the fire truck, when do you anticipate that the debt hits on the fire truck? Is that a year out?
Yes. George, you want to share it? Yeah,
Yeah, FY 28.
FY 28.
Okay,
So,
First principal and interest payments, and depending on when it's purchased, whether it's a full principal and a full year's interest, or when I say purchase, because there's a timeline for the manufacturer to complete the truck. And so we don't know the exact date, but it wouldn't be in FY 27.
okay. And what is the term of the loan typically?
Well, I would say,
Stretch.
yeah, well, just to step up one step on all this, we met with Ryan at our last meeting to talk about how we're going to manage the debt service that we're anticipating in the next few years, because we have a number of things going on.
Yeah.
And we have some debt items like the culvert, it's probably the largest one, that are in there, and they're using up a lot of the capacity. Typically, we fund 2% of the operating budget. We try to always keep that there for debt service, but now it's getting pushed up. So we plan on working with Ryan. And yes, one of the questions with Ryan is, how far out can we take the fire truck? All equipment in this Commonwealth of Massachusetts has a set period, a term for loans for those specific items. And fire trucks, he wasn't sure what it was, might be 5, 6, 7 years. But a lot of towns have been getting approval to go 15 years on fire trucks because they're so expensive. I'm not sure that's what we're going to do, but our plan is to work with Ryan. We've got a lot of debt coming and we really need to figure out how we're going to manage it.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that, we've been talking about a bunch of other really expensive items like paving the elementary school parking lot, which I heard a figure of $1 million for that. I've heard, other major capital expenses at the elementary school and at some of the other buildings. So, I'm wondering, have all of those things been taken into consideration in terms of prioritization when we're going to town meeting asking for $800,000 for a fire truck, and we have these other potential major capital items coming forward?
Yeah, that's why we need to talk to the treasurer.
Well, it's not only the treasurer, it's who's on who's making the decisions about what is the highest priority. When you start adding up millions of dollars, it gets
Well, the capital items all come from the capital planning committee.
yeah,
And
no,
so-
I understand.
And we basically have to figure out how to fund the things that they approve.
Right.
But we also talked about with capital planning about a long-range plan to lay out over 10 years, and that would help support what you're talking about. When you put that plan together, then you can look at, okay, we're going to make 10 major projects 3 years from now, or are we going to spread them out over 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
I mean,
just
that's
is anybody asking the question about what else is on, what else is in the lineup here? Just because I've heard these
Yeah,
other
that's what
things.
capital planning is doing. In fact, that's going to be our summer project. That's scheduled today because schedule has become stale. And some of the prices on some of the assets were clearly too low, and that needs to be fixed. And so,
And the money for the engineering study for the parking lot is a way of addressing what is the real number that's gonna
Yeah, that's
cost.
right.
And so there's a step before we even start putting out that number. It's to have that assessment by the engineering study.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I would add, Rita, is that I do think you're pointing out something about the capital planning process, which I think is about to change a little bit because of the long range planning that George and Jim just alluded to, that's going to be happening this summer. I think historically, it's like these things get considered on an annual basis by capital planning, like
Yeah.
who's requesting, what in a given year. And then those requests get discussed and evaluated by the capital planning committee essentially in a vacuum about what is the merit of that request, but not in the
It's just been
context.
reactive. It's been
Yeah.
reactive and not
Yeah.
proactive. So
I think
no-
that's fair to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because there's no kind of visioning, there's discussion and not a proactive visioning, then we don't, we have a reaction and then suddenly we're saying, well, we can't afford to do it. It's just just an observation.
long-range planning is something we just need to get better at.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
starting to tackle it, like we're doing the 5-year plan, so.
Yeah.
I think we all know it's an issue.
Yeah.
Well, it's also extra important now that if you look at these free cash levels and they're getting down to where we don't want to go lower. Free cash wise or capital stabilization, those numbers are getting relatively low. So that's another thing to consider.
Mhm.
Would follow up with that comment and say that, and we really have no plan for financial stabilizations at this point. So those balances are down there. And we really have, in the past, when debt service went low, to save space in the budget for debt service, we would take the decrease to debt service and we would transfer that to the capital stabilization account. And we lost that capacity. And given all these large ticket items, we're not going to have that capacity for a number of years.
Yeah.
Once we make it.
Yeah.
There's other ways to fund it, but it's not going to be through the operating budget unless we want to have large increases in the operating budget.
We didn't have the CPC items,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we didn't vote on those. I don't know if they have been written up, but otherwise we endorsed all of the FinCom ones that you needed to approve.
Yeah. And we also, I don't know if we're looking, so the MLP, there are 3 warrant articles related to their budget, which I think we technically need to vote on. We did that just before joining you guys tonight and unanimously recommended approval of 3 of those. I'm assuming you have the updated, this looks like the updated information here. Yeah. So on articles 19 through 21 here that we're seeing on the screen, those were all recommended by the FinCom by votes of 7-0. Yeah, for all 3 of those.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. And sorry, my family calls.
No, that's
So,
fine, Rita.
Thank you for all your hard work, Finance Committee.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Appreciate it. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Eric, did you have any questions?
No, just to reiterate, just not that the finance committee's making these decisions, but it's I would just reiterate with the fire truck. It just, a week ago, we met in this room, we're talking about like basically rebuilding the MS Sphere building. Now we're talking buying a fire truck for $800,000. I mean, okay, these are all great ideas. But I'm just not sure what the priority should be. And I think that's really got to get straightened out.
Yeah.
Well, the capital planning has these conversations with department heads and our our fire truck number 1 is 15 years old.
Right.
And that's past the useful life. The repair costs for that were more than 50% of the purchase of the new one. And that's just to repair the existing problems. Then you're going to have to continue to spend money
Right.
on to keep it running. And that's a safety issue for the firemen and the homeowners for that matter. I mean, we ask these questions in the capital planning.
I think the other thing that's happening in this town is there was a capital plan that is gonna get updated, but there's items that aren't on that, the dam repair and then spare. There's things that aren't in that normal track. And so do we have a way of slowing that down or prioritizing it? It will be part of the discussion, but it's not that they weren't looking at some of the issues. It's that at this time, it feels like there's a lot on the stove and people will continue to work on that. I mean, I think the trash contract's gonna be a big thing and that's coming. And so there's pieces that I mean, the health insurance went berserk. I don't know if we have a locked in fuel contract, but right now we could be looking at how that's gonna
For
go.
next year, we are doing the competitive bidding with the FERCog for heating oil.
So we get economies of scale.
Hmm?
We get economies of scale, all the,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
almost everyone in the FERCog does it.
yeah. So
And the personnel board is looking at one of our most important assets are our employees. And we're gonna meet with everyone to figure it really right, more accurate job descriptions, find out how many hours people are actually working. I mean, in the scope of the budget, it's a relatively small amount, but it's incredibly important.
Everything feels a little more intimidating before you make the plan. We just have to make the plan,
Right.
and then we're gonna feel a lot better in 1 year's time.
Right.
Right, so that's true, that's true. But we are also keeping our paid counsel here. So maybe you would like to address some questions. Not that we don't love working with you, Donna.
Evening, everybody. Long time no see. That's a good thing, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So Donna, the questions we have are the ones that are in red on the screen, and I think there's just 3 of them for right now. And then we're gonna meet next week to finalize and review, and then we'll send you another draft.
Okay. But send me this one for any research I have to do on the questions that are already on here.
Okay.
I don't know them right off the top of my head tonight.
So I can read the first one. So I don't know if you may need to research this, but is there an approved way to change a previous town meeting vote? Or should the new vote be taken first and then the old vote rescinded? This is in regards to raising the minimum value of personal property.
Right, so the actual legal question, is there a way to rescind adopting a statute? Because there's a more complex process, or you have to follow more stricter rules in rescinding the adopting of a statute than you do in just changing a town meeting vote for, say, an appropriation where you just, make a determination you want it to go into another account or something. So it all depends. I just want to put that caveat in the beginning of this, that it depends on what the town meeting vote was for and what it did on how you change it. For adopting a statute, you unadopt a statute the same way you adopted it. So I don't know, are you adopting another statute for this? One that, are you replacing it with another section? Or are you replacing it with the same section with an amendment?
So it looks, yes, Leslie, please.
The amount that was used for the minimum value of personal property to tax in 2001 is well out of date.
Right.
And the assessors understand that we can go up to $10,000 by statute, but I cannot answer that technical question, how to do it.
All right, so I don't know. I'm assuming that but this is what I want to check is the chapter 54 section, clause 54, section 5 of 59 has changed. And that's what's changed in the law. And so if that statute's been amended, there may be a fairly simple way to sort of adopt the amendment and set the amount. If in fact there's a newer clause or something else, that's what I really want to look into to see how this very specific clause has been changed. And then we can figure out how to do it on the warrant.
Thank you.
And then the next one.
And somebody make sure I get this warrant so I can
Yes, yeah.
reference and look these things up.
These two from the assessors that Haley's pointing out right away, thankfully. I just wrote based on what the assessors feel should happen, and we're leaning on you, Donna, to tell me if I'm doing it the right way. We voted.
It was on page 7, I think was the next one.
Yeah.
We voted the means tested exemption and local option into existence in 2021. And the wording says it can be renewed by town meeting vote every 3 years. So the first change was just to delete the last article, which said that the town select board will go to the petition the legislature to allow us to create this local option. So I eliminated that. And the second part was just, do we have to write the whole 2 pages out into the warrant?
So what I'm gathering from your question, Leslie, is that in 2001, you asked for special legislation.
Oh, I'm
Means
sorry.
testing?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought Haley had moved on to, I thought the 2001 minimum value of personal property was done. You're going to do some research and get back to us. The second question was renewing the means tested exemption, which was first approved by town meeting in 2021 and had to be sent to the legislature. So in the 2021 warrant article, it said the last article of the means tested bylaw or statute, I guess, local option, said petition the select board to go or ask the select board to petition the legislature. Well, we don't have to do that. That's done. Town meeting has to renew it every 3 years if they want it to continue. So
what's in the warrant now is the special legislation you did in 2001?
Correct. Without
Section 7, without section 7.
well, section 8, actually, I guess, said to petition the legislature. Wait a minute.
But you're not doing more special legislation, right? So this whole
That's
thing.
correct. Yeah.
So why is this whole thing in the warrant now?
It has to be renewed every 3 years.
Yeah, the legislation or just?
No, just the town has to revote.
So that's why I'm saying, why is the special legislation in the warrant rather than just a warrant article saying pursuant to the special legislation of 2001 to see if the town will vote to renew the means testing?
Yes.
Understand what I'm saying?
2021. So
2021, sorry.
Section 6 says shall expire in 3 years after the effective date, provided, however, that the town of Shutesbury may reauthorize the exemption for additional 3-year intervals. So this is our first 3-year interval. And I don't know. Okay, we agree. Let's just delete section 7.
No. So let's talk about this. You've got the whole special legislation in there. Do you have it in there for information purposes so that the voters can see what they voted 3 years ago?
I just put it in. because it was in 2021.
Right, but you aren't filing this special legislation. You've already done that. It's been approved.
That's correct.
So all you're doing is pursuant, excuse me, to the special legislation, section 6. You're renewing and reauthorizing the exemption for an additional 3 years.
Yes.
And I don't believe you don't file that with the general court as special legislation. You've already given yourself the authority to do that with the 2021 legislation.
Right. We're not filing, but we just want to know what needs to be on the warrant.
Right, so I'm thinking, and I'll check into it a little more closely, but I think what needs to be on the warrant is to see if the town will vote pursuant to the 2021 legislation filed authorizing the town of Shutesbury to means test senior citizen property tax exemption to reauthorize senior citizen tested property tax exemptions for an additional 3 years commencing in fiscal 2027 to, for 3 years. So I think that's all you need on the warrant. Because
Perfect.
you already filed the special legislation, you're already
Perfect.
authorized to renew it for 3 years. So
Yeah.
you want the town to vote to renew it for 3 years.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we
Leave that in there for now and I'll get the language to you. When you get me this, I'll get you the specific language.
thank you.
Thank you,
And all
Dawn.
these are up to the town meeting, not the assessors. Whatever town meeting says is what the assessors.
Right.
Could I ask a question on this that Donna might need to weigh in on? Article 17 is the dam payment, transferring the money from stabilization. But what I was a little confused about is this is the bill. The safety order was issued in December of 25. And the costs are now accumulating and we need to pay for it. And so if we are paying these costs that are in FY 26 in a warrant article that's for FY 27, is there any paying attention to language there? Like whether it's just going to be a simple majority as stabilization is, or is it a prior year bill? But you can sort that out. I don't need to know the answer.
Right,
but I'm
it's coming from stabilization, so why wouldn't it be a 2/3?
That's what I was saying.
This capital stabilization is 2/3.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
Just-
that was changed.
It doesn't say that though. It should, if it's from the capital stabilization account, which is a majority rather than the general stabilization, which is 2/3, it needs to specify the special stabilization account it's coming out of.
Instead of stabilization, which is, we have two accounts, stabilization and capital stabilization. So it's coming from the stabilization account.
If it's coming from the general stabilization account, it's 2/3.
Oh, we should change it.
Oh,
Donna, does that change at all if like we were mandated to do these repairs from the state?
No,
We need to change it out.
So wait a minute, where did we get that information? That capital stabilization was 2/3?
You're all kicking it
the
around.
Municipal Modernization Act changed stabilization accounts. It's the act that said you, instead of having to vote 2/3 to put into stabilization, you only needed a majority.
What's
It
taking out?
also said special stabilization accounts, equipment, capital purchases. Towns have all different names for specialized stabilization accounts. Taking money out of those accounts can be a majority vote, but it left that taking it out of your general stabilization, your general savings
We
is
want
still
that.
a 2/3
Yes.
vote. So it's up to you which account you want to take it out of, but knowing there's two different votes at town meeting.
And does it matter that the cost is an FY 26 cost and we're doing this in FY 27's budget?
Well, I mean, you can't pay it until after July 1st.
Right.
Yeah, we won't incur the cost till after in this.
Why can't we pay in FY 26? if we approve it on
Because
April.
this
May-
is because this is the FY 27 budget. And the votes at town meeting, annual town meeting are for July 1st. But if you want them to be paid before July 1st, they need to be a special before the annual.
So that's true for all warrant articles.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so then this, it sounds like this needs to be changed, yeah, right there to 2/3.
Correct.
Requires 2/3 majority.
But we need to figure out what year we have to pay it in, and if it turns out to be a preamble to the annual town meeting to have an FY 26 expenditure, we can do that. We've done that before, and it's also then it has to be posted as a meeting for a
Right, but
special
that's a
town
special
meeting.
town meeting. It needs the 14-day posting, but it can, lots of towns precede their annuals with,
Yeah.
you know, clean up budgetary items for the current fiscal year.
Procedurally, we need to put that into the mix.
Need to address that now, right?
So do you see any concern, Haley, with this being paid after July 1?
That's what.
And I can check in with our contractors and see. So basically, we had to declare a state of emergency so that we could deficit spend, and the contractor hasn't started work yet. But they expect to within maybe a week, and then it should take 2 weeks to clean up. So that if they do net 30 terms, maybe we would get the bill sometime in May. I can definitely ask them if they, I'm sure they work with a lot of towns. Right.
So since you're already authorized the deficit spend to pay those bills, so you could.
Yeah.
You could pay those bills
Yeah,
out of the FY 26 budget, overspending a line, and then that line gets reimbursed
With the vote.
yeah.
from this action that's.
Could it be like a prior, not like a prior year bill?
No, that would be one that you find from later, but
Okay.
yeah. That's a little different. Those we do put on, you know.
Like, is that all we have?
I think you had one on zoning.
Yes, so if Brennan, if you can scroll down to Article 24.
Sorry to interrupt, but do you need the FinCom for anything else? We had a couple of other items that we could just address on our own at a certain point, but,
I think we were good,
okay,
but thank you for all your hard
okay,
work.
thank you. All right, thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Putting it on paper.
You passed the data center. Yeah, you passed the data center one.
What's that?
It's page 7, so
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, definitely. Better all the time. That's what he. Yeah.
Yeah, this one we discussed earlier.
Right, but this warrant article isn't adequate, Brennan. This warrant article has to have some more. I mean, it doesn't even say in the body of the warrant article to see if the town of Shutesbury will amend its zoning bylaws by amending section 311 use table to add data centers, section 813 a provision for data centers, and section 13.2 definitions of, I mean, it's got to have some more warning to the public than just that you're changing those 3 sections of the zoning bylaw. So I don't know if that's the only zoning bylaw change this year, but it's got to have some meat in it so that people, if they care about data centers, they know to come to town meeting.
Okay, but then we probably don't need the full 10 pages if they could be reduced.
No, now let's, I mean, just basic rule of thumb. Your warrant articles have to warn what's going to be discussed and voted on. Once you don't need the full amended bylaw in the warrant, but you do have to reference in the warrant where a copy can be located.
Okay.
Prior to town meeting, and that there will be full copies at town meeting. So, you know, to see if the town will amend the town of Shutesbury zoning bylaw, blah, blah, blah. The full text of the amendment to the zoning bylaw, may be picked up at town hall, at the town administrator or town clerk's office prior to town meeting. And there will be full copies of the amendment at town meeting. And you have to have enough copies at town meeting for anybody that wants one can pick one up and review it.
Okay.
So as long as the warrant article warns enough that you're gonna be voting on use table, definitions, and a full section on data centers in the zoning bylaw, and you have the text of the amendment available in town hall at one office, I don't care which office, and that full copies will be available at town meeting, then you've fairly warned the public. And you've had it available for them to review so they can vote on it with, you know, knowledge of what it says.
That makes sense.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then I think that was the only question we had for right now.
All right.
We will get this over to you, Donna, so you can have fun.
Okay, I'll finish up those two and then just make any other general comments, but it looks good. I was reading it while I was sitting here. So,
Yeah.
you know, it looks pretty standard outside of these few minor things.
Yeah, we have under, so far, we have under 40, whatever we had last year.
Yes.
Well, that's good to hear.
So we likely might finish by 5 o'clock.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm hoping we'll.
That would be ideal.
Right.
Childcare ends at 1, so.
And Melissa, Brennan's asked me to attend, conditioned on you guys wanting me there, so I've got it on my
Well, it's always
calendar.
helpful to have you there, and we know everyone likes to see your smiling face. And you help it run a little bit more smoothly. So yes, we would appreciate you, Donna.
Okay, all right, I shall.
I
attend.
actually, I'm here for the select board. Did we want Donna
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Moderator would like you there too.
Yes, yeah.
All right. So get that to me and I'll finish reviewing it and then, and make sure I have recommendations for those questions.
Okay, perfect. We appreciate your time.
All right, good seeing
you.
everybody.
Thanks,
Seeing you.
Talk to
Thank you,
you.
Donna.
Awesome. All right, I think, was that the last thing? Was there anything unanticipated?
Well, I have one thing, that
Yeah.
is, I was talking to Mary Ann the other day, and they want to change it so the library pays for their own snow blowing guy or gal or whatever.
I think they probably could do that.
But right now, that money now lives in, I didn't ask because it was gonna be like 20 people out.
Yeah.
It would mean that somehow the budget's last. The money has to come out of the highway account eventually.
Well, what I remember, because we did actually talk about this a little bit too.
Okay,
Was that no, it actually was for this fiscal year. I forget the dollar amount, a couple thousand was put in for sidewalks. So
Right.
that money is already kind of in there,
in there meaning,
in the snow and ice budget.
The snow removal. budget,
but
yes.
what Mary Ann's saying, it's well, technically speaking, I guess it should come out. It should come out of the snow and ice budget because highway department won't be spending at the library.
Yes, and if they go over or anything, then they would be able to deficit spend.
Right.
You know, if we had a crazy sidewalk winter or something.
But should we bother to make that change on this budget thing here? Of us or just do? just
Well,
do it?
I mean, I ultimately, for it, you've opened the door, so I'm gonna walk through it, Garrett. I would like to see each department's full, expenses under there, like, so the library also has other expenses and other lines too that aren't accounted for as library. But they've doubled a couple of lines, or some of them have almost doubled because of that. And I think with if it's not in the library's lines itself, it should at least be under that line item designated as library services. Because there's some hidden things that are, I think voters are gonna question.
Like
feel like.
custodial costs or something.
Well, yeah, it doubled the custodial cost, and it looks like it doubled it, and it hasn't doubled. It's added the library, and it doesn't
Right.
appear to have that explanation.
And-
That's one of them, that there's some building supplies, some toilet paper and other supplies are added to building supplies, and they're really for the library, which is its own independent building now.
Right.
service, like, so. Yeah,
I guess the
like,
question, should we,
but
is it worth trying to straighten all that out now, or should we just let this year slide? I don't know, I don't know.
I do, I just to play devil's advocate, so if you change that, it changes the amount of money that there's a certain portion, a certain ratio that the library has to hit in order to maintain state funding. So if you then add more money under the library, it would affect that ratio.
I'm just noting them. I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
saying to add it.
Well, I definitely
We
would
know how
say,
much Department actually costs us.
I think that, I think that this budget doesn't really have a lot of clarity, and perhaps that's best evidenced by there was a line item that we thought was one thing and it was totally something different, but nobody knew that. So I think we could certainly do a better job of making it clear what these expenses are or what category they're in. We have, scrolling down. So like under miscellaneous, we have retirement and health insurance, but really those should be lumped under like employee benefits or like the treasurer, since he's
Right.
with that information. So I think to your point, it could definitely be clearer.
Yeah, it does have to be under theirs, but it would be helpful.
Yeah.
Well,
here, like on this page, if you go to, not numbered, 6, actually there. But like they're starting to do that, because if you look under water quality, so that's line 172, that also includes water quality testing for LWAC and the library. Because that's an additional maintenance cost that will come with the library for.
and maybe it's as much as noting this in some way on the side for people to know.
Yeah.
Like we're in a budget year where things are going up so dramatically. And
oh yeah, because
if there's no explanation or like a line that doubles and it's like, well, why did it double?
No, because that's
or if you take out, for someone to snow blow or shovel.
Yeah, I
the
think she thought, I wanted to
You
say
know.
the number was $4,600 was in what was in her mind. I believe.
I do know Dave was keeping it separate to know how much it was actually costing him.
Right.
So I don't know if he may have a number that he could,
Right.
he was charting that
Right.
for the snow removal hour.
Because that's true. Because if you look at like 86, so that's our supply line, like that went up 84%, which you're right, might look crazy.
It looks
But-
crazy, and then if people start cutting it on the floor because they can.
Yeah.
So, but
They don't understand.
what's in it, right?
Yeah. If you don't know that
Nothing
that
nobody-
includes the library, then then we're all kind of screwed because we don't have enough. We need.
Right, because any line can be.
Definitely don't want the library running out of toilet paper.
No.
So, yeah.
No, but those are just the things that, I think it's screwed.
But for right now, that snow blowing business is in the, as we now are looking at, it's in the highway department budget.
Yeah, if you look at on our website where it has all the budget docs, if you pull up the one for this fiscal year, you'll see on the snow and ice line, it says, I want to say it's like $4,000 for it says for sidewalks, but there's not a lot of sidewalks in
Yeah.
That may be the only one.
Right.
Actually, the only one.
All right.
Yeah, it is hard to keep track of all those things. I mean, if we're just basing it off of notes in the budget, how are you going to know from year to year if you're not paying attention to that?
Right.
Right.
But I think that goes back to the other conversation where like, how do we plan and structure things so that we're not losing track of these little bits and thinking about the future?
Right.
Right, and I do admit there's benefit to having some things that are like just general, just highway expenses or whatever department you're looking at. There's a benefit in that so that person has, the department has some flexibility in what they can spend it on. Yeah, that's when it's, departments are covering for other departments,
Right. All right. Well, yeah.
So did you want to see that separated out like?
Well, I just want to make as much as anything, just so it can get spent that way. If Dave and Mary Ann work it out, where Mary Ann's in charge of them doing the snow blowing, which is what she would know, I know that. mean, there was question about whether or not things were done the way, you know.
It was a
I-
unique winter.
Yeah.
So much snow.
Yeah, I know, it's not so much snow. But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't want to get into that, but if they want to be in charge of their own snow thing, they're over there, which makes sense to me. It's their building, their people, customers, if you will, are walking on the, you know, they want it done the way they want it done. I get that.
It definitely would have to have, I think, coordination though, because technically he is responsible for that budget line item.
Right.
But maybe that's just
Well,
really,
maybe we move it over to the library.
That's my
We do
question.
Put it under the
I
library.
guess that's my question.
Something
Should it be
to
over?
do.
that would, like I said, affect the ratio. But one other thing we could do is just like have that might be something where select board guidance is helpful.
Well, but if you look at other libraries, because I've looked at other library budgets, they have it really like specific.
I
Down
thought
to
the thing
electricity
you're
for
talking
the
about,
building,
Haley, had to do with
you know.
like, is the town spending enough money? So if the town's
It's
spending
some-
more money.
It's like, I'll see if I can find an email. I mean, obviously Mary Ann could
Board of-
definitely,
what was it? You
um,
need to ask the.
it's based on the proportion that it spends. So like if you, yeah, okay, I think I have like, I could generally explain that she could do a much better job. But so if the budget for like the library increases, that increases the amount of money that she has to spend on new materials.
Yeah.
So, and that's not always something,
I see.
I don't know.
I see you're
about their
saying.
finance.
You are right about that. That's right.
So if she wants control of that, then she should have it under her budget then. And a percentage of 4,000 is not gonna be a huge amount of money and a percentage of adding to more books or whatever.
Well, maybe that's
It's a
good.
small amount. Like
It
if you
could
did
also be,
100,000, I could understand, you know, you don't want to do that, but this is 4,000.
Maybe
Yeah, it might
maybe
not
what the
be.
trustees raise it though.
Possible.
Yeah, like, to be honest, if we should know how much each department is actually costing us. Right? And so, you know, but 4,000, percentage of 4,000. And I remember the percentage, it was said in a meeting and it wasn't a huge amount. It's 5% or 10% or something like that. So
Yeah,
looking at that,
it
much
wasn't-
4,000 is not much.
Trying to see if I can find any.
Well, the general
Right.
question would be, how do we go about that? Should we talk to the
Right.
finance committee about that, changing the budget lines a little bit or around?
Yeah.
So it's all gonna be the same amount of money.
Well, there's also, I mean, you could think of it this way. So said earlier, so there's different ways that you can structure your budget, right? So you could be really specific with the line items that you have, but then that's going to create more like rigidity. So you don't have the ease, you know, if I just have supplies, well, if I need to buy toilet paper and then I need to buy like new carpeting, that have a little bit more flexibility.
Yeah, right.
So there's benefits to both, but one other thing we could think about, because I agree, I mean, I think timing wise, it's kind of tough to make big changes, but one thing we might want to do is just independent of this document, keep an internal record that more adequately shows, because even like AJ said, some lines are, like are routinely overspent. Like you can go back several fiscal years and you'll see like snow and ice, highway maintenance, those are consistently overrun. So if you want to look at the true cost of what it takes to operate the town, you might maybe just want to make like an internal document and kind of look at this year and say, all right, now we know this, how do we apply that in the next fiscal year? Because you can also look at grants too, right? Like if you have a department like I know if like as senior center director, I always tried to include, they didn't always let me, the revenue that was generated by the grants that I did. You know, here I'm getting this much town appropriation, but I'm matching that with grant.
Right, because you're pulling it in.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see stuff like that, because then you get a sense of, you know, well, like in Amherst, it's like, okay, so you're funding maybe like 40% of my operating costs, but I'm bringing in, you know, 30 some odd percent in grants. So
You're offsetting.
yeah, like
They're
significant.
saving.
Yes, you know, so, you know, it just might be interesting to kind of look at it that way.
Right.
Right, have a general, I like that, a general budget, and then, you know, maybe a definition for the lines or something like that. This is,
Yeah, I think we can
this is what that's going toward, like, here's the
I'm always
needs of that.
more in favor of like a incremental thing. I think it's just people get bought in.
So for this year, are we saying we should try to change the?
I think we definitely could.
Yeah.
I mean, especially right now, it's fresh in like my mind, like
Yeah,
what we had to put in there. So you could look at that and say, okay, like, you know, the real cost of running a library is whatever grants that she gets,
right,
plus whatever money that they spend from donations.
Right.
And then, your water testing, that might not be directly in the budget, but it still costs. So that way you
And
can
then
say,
the buildings, the restroom cleaning supplies and custodial and then snow removal,
Yeah.
right? Because it is self-contained.
in the same way you can do that for the highway department and say, well, it's like when you do the actuals at the end of the budget year, what did you actually spend to run the
Right.
department? And it can be a lot more, same with like Lenny or Devin.
Yeah. Each one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little different slightly with Devin because he's not in his own building. Right. So he doesn't have his
Yeah.
own electrical and his own heating and all
We
that.
could probably guesstimate, because
We
that
could.
that
We
might
could
be
by
important, because, if we're talking about prioritization, if they want to move over there, well, you have to have some rough idea of what it's gonna cost to like run the electricity and the internet
And you
and,
could know that from probably the library was their prior electric bills and.
yeah, probably just increase them a little bit.
It could be more 24-hour, not 24, but much more.
I think that, and well, I mean, I've said this to the FinCom a bunch. It's like we just really need to like understand what are our costs and start planning for the future, because yeah, we have big capital projects, but like the oil tank, nobody expected that. Nobody expected the dam to have holes.
Oh, and like, can we make an
I guess that's
inspection, make the inspection, routine inspection, like
Yeah.
once a week, the custodian opens that door and looks in to see where the water is.
If we hit a year where we've already committed to some major capital expenses and then we get some big surprises, what is that gonna look like in the fallout years?
Oh, yeah.
You wanna have,
That's like when I was trying to make about the fire engine stuff, like, wait a minute.
yeah,
I was spending 800 grand over here, and like, we're talking about spending
Yeah.
a couple $100,000 to fix it and
Right.
spear, and and like something like that happens, like, oh yeah, we gotta build a new thing at the school.
Yeah, well, I think with the MM Spear redo, we could, like we did the library. We could do a donation drive and say,
Yeah, that's
hey, does
true.
anyone want, right? Just because maybe there's people who didn't give to the library,
Oh, yeah,
that would
sure.
give to something like
Yeah,
that,
yeah, no,
so
you're right.
yeah.
and I would say, probably I'm not. However the town wants to work, but I would say it's probably not the highest priority, is turning over that building.
Oh, no, I'm not, whatever, just saying.
But there are other
General
things.
budgets, I think there are a lot of capital items and just budget items in general.
Yeah, well,
The things getting weirder and weirder at the regional union,
Well,
regional schools, all the time.
there's been a lot of
Budgets work.
deferred maintenance, But I mean, like George was saying, they're gonna redo the capital plan. We're working on a 5-year plan, so I feel better about that stuff.
Oh, yeah, no, I think just thinking that's good.
Yeah, but if you don't have a plan to go to a plan, it feels like you
Yeah.
said,
It can feel really intimidating.
feels overwhelming, intimidating,
Yeah.
chaos, like it,
Yeah,
but
until
once
you get the
it
clarity.
going, yeah,
but,
once it's
you
on
know,
paper. It
then
just
people feel
it
a lot
becomes
better.
routine to update it.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, Article 14, that's about, the center dividing curtains in the gym and cafeteria.
Yes.
Glad to see it on there. In
Oh,
my
yeah.
communications with Anne, the principal at Shutesbury, she would not guarantee that that would be open for annual town meeting.
It could be unhooked. Could it be unhooked? Anyway.
So we talked about this because we were there looking for the clickers meeting. And she and the head custodian, Matt Falter, were very clear that like they would not open.
Okay.
So I just wanted to know, I don't know.
Okay.
Obviously, it was absolutely fine for the first meeting. It wouldn't be fine for annual
No.
town meeting.
Yeah,
No, you're
more
right.
Difficult.
So I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
We should look at that.
So what you're saying is the item on this budget, on this warrant article won't allow that thing to open?
She said it's on its last legs.
Yeah.
And it cannot be opened.
Yeah, but I think the curtain is hooked into it. I wonder if the curtain grommets will be unhooked. The curtain removed, rather than touching the mechanism, because if it was left, you don't wanna,
Yeah,
but wonder if the curtain could be unhooked. Because it's only held up with hooks and grommets and stuff.
You're talking about the curtain for the stage or the curtain for
The one with
The
the
divider.
yeah, the one that was up for the pancake breakfast, the one that's always up for.
Right.
It's not usually up for the pancake breakfast. Usually the whole.
Oh,
thing
no,
is-
no,
Is it
in most of the years I've been to pancake breakfast, it's been closed. Because the kids play on the other side and one of your balls were coming over, so they decided to put it.
Nice.
So if it could be unhooked, I wonder if Matt could unhook it. Not touch the mechanism, right? Because you don't want to stress that out.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's hooked with grommets. From what I remember. But I look,
Or not, well, there's a classic case. The real answer is you should be rebuilding it, right? I mean, you should.
well, yeah, but you gotta get to 14 first. and have that-
Yes, yes.
Right,
Like, there's no curtain in the middle where they could just kind of like tie it back. You know,
right,
it's not like those curtains on the stage could be
Right.
tied back.
right,
We
right,
had to, or we could be in front of them.
right.
Right, this one, if the room is filled,
No, I
Enough,
know
it's a
exactly,
little-
yeah.
a little more difficult. I suppose voting would certainly be,
Yeah, I mean,
on the other
coordinated,
side.
but yeah. Well, maybe we want to invite her to a future meeting. Just kind of, because we'll have to come up with some kind of game plan.
Yeah. Yeah. I go pick up Travis tomorrow. Maybe I'll pick my head in the gym while I'm there.
So is the curtain closed now? So that's what you're
It's
saying?
open.
Yeah, well,
It's
should be.
permanently open.
yeah, yes, dividing it, yeah.
When I was there.
Are we talking about closed, meaning like it's across the area?
Oh, maybe you're talking about, yes, so it's
open.
yes, so you mean the curtain itself is.
It's open.
Left.
Okay.
Yes, closing off the two
Yep.
sections.
Yep.
Right,
Yes.
right.
I was a brain teaser for a second there.
Yeah, so it's currently dividing the two.
Yes.
Which I think is the setup because they have they have a student with allergies, food allergy.
Yeah. I remember going to that gym, there wasn't a curtain, never. And the tables folded up into the side of the wall. And they were benches, they weren't the stool thingies.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, they were nice white tables that folded up. You pushed them. The kids got to do it too. You pushed them and they folded in the middle and they stacked against, there was like 4 against each wall. And then they had a, something that went across them and then, yeah. But there was never a divider. Interesting. That's relatively new.
They'll get a little basketball in me. That's good.
So,
Yeah.
great. Okay, and also, the people sign on to the internet for town meeting.
Oh, yeah, well, get that.
Always, because it is a dead zone. Although one day I did have something while I was waiting in the parking lot. It was weird. And the next day, not.
So you talked to them about the budget thing, that school thing we're talking about?
Yeah, I get, just about labeling.
Yeah, how we're gonna do that, how we're gonna take that. I would suggest talking to Mary Ann and saying, what does she want to do about the snow block thing? She'll tell you, she'll give you the wrap. And then you can just, whatever. Adjust the budget.
But it needs to be noted if she's in charge of it, just either in the snow removal line,
Right,
for library.
right. The biggest thing is I don't want to have like a middle of the snow season fight about who's gonna do the sidewalks. I can already hear it coming. Listening to that conversation the other day.
Awesome. Are we ready to adjourn?
I think so.
Okay, all those in favor to adjourn?
So that's you with me, right? Start,
Yeah. Well, you have to make the motion.
second,
Okay. All in favor?
Stalker, right?
Make peace, O'Neill. Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.